just to say this to you, I heard you talking about legacy in one of your previous podcasts, and that's what this book was, is to keep that legacy going. And I said, I wrote this book to give back what was given to me. And that's the legacy of my mother's character. So that's what this book is about, is maintaining her legacy through the story that I told.
Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by my man, Audley Stevenson, the Odd Man. He'll unpack wisdom and insights from a cross-section of top quality performers in business, media, sports, entertainment, and lifestyle to uncover key elements to help you live your best audacious life ever. So without further ado, here is the Odd Man.
Greetings and salutations, folks. It's the Audacious Living Podcast, and I'm Audley Stevenson, back for another edition of the most audacious podcast you'll find on the internet. I guarantee you can scour and you will not find one more audacious than this one. The Audacious Living Podcast is here, and I really appreciate you for taking some time out every day and spending it here with us as we continue our ongoing goal of helping our listeners live their best audacious life ever. As always, I encourage you to follow us on our social media channels. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You can also find us on YouTube. If you click the bell down below, you can actually subscribe to our channel and stay connected to all good things audacious related. Now, I've got a really cool guest coming up on this edition of the podcast. Kenneth Earl is a former U.S. Navy master cryptologist, which is a really cool job that involves spies and espionage and all that cool stuff you see on the movies, which by itself offers a ton of one-of-a-kind of experiences that we'll get an opportunity to hear from Kenneth all about. But the thing I like about what he has done with his story is that he's taken his experiences and gone on this reflective journey and pulled out really important life lessons, which actually, in some instances, go back to his childhood, where he was raised in a single-parent home in South Carolina with his mother. They didn't have a whole lot of money, and so he was very, very, very reflective on that. He's written his own book, his personal memoir called Illegitimate Son, which chronicles his own journey, and he uses that to inspire others. He gets into personal achievement and satisfaction and happiness and a whole bunch of other really, really key points. And essentially, he's cracked the code of life through his memoir. And I also should point out that a big part of that he dedicates to his mother, who was instrumental and had a profound impact on his upbringing as a single parent. It really, really is a great conversation that I have no doubt that all of you will appreciate. So without any further ado, here's my conversation with Kenneth Earl. Enjoy. Kenneth, welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast. It's such a pleasure to talk to you and get you on the show. We're going to talk about your book. I like your background there with your books. We're going to talk about that. That cute little guy in the photos look really sharp. I see that too. We're going to get into all that. But listen, first, I'm kidding aside, thank you for being here. I really appreciate this.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It's my honor to be here. I'm really excited to join you today. I've been waiting for this for several weeks now.
Oh, man.
And though it's 7 p.m. on the East Coast, I had a long day. I'm still excited to be here today. So thank you for the invitation and to be here on your podcast.
Thank you. And so first, I appreciate the kind words. This podcast very much is about starting from that. When we were talking about authenticity, for example, and the importance of being, yourself and who you are. And so this podcast, for me, it represents just that. I'm just authentically being myself. I know what's important to me, and I think what's important to me is worth sharing with others. And if I can help someone along the way, then I'm golden, man. So There you go.
I totally agree, and I feel that energy, and I got a sense. And for transparency, I've seen several of your videos and clips, and I saw that energy and I saw that passion about it, and I said, hey, that's what made me be excited today, because obviously that's who you are. That's the core of who you are as an individual and what you do in life and what you do for others. And I think there's a book called Gift to Others. And I'm sitting there
Yeah.
thinking, wow,
Wow.
I want to talk to this guy, right?
Yeah.
So to that extent, I'm excited to be here to join you and your listeners. So, hey.
Man, so Kenneth, I'm gonna give you a whole bunch of stars. That book, Gifts from Others, I probably wrote that about 12 years ago, and you pull that out like I know you researched, because if you know Gifts from Others and you did your homework.
I did, and I think another reason, and I know we're going to chat here, but you're a deputy commissioner or commissioner of a basketball league, and I like to think of myself. I was a basketball star in high school and in the military, and I say, wow, I'm gonna be able to relate to this guy. And I've seen some of your interviews. So for me, it's like maybe I'm living my dream because I never got it to any professional level. I did that in the military in high school, and but I was like, no, I get to talk to a commissioner, right?
There we go.
So just know that that's how I'm feeling right now.
Well, listen, I appreciate it. We all could, it's nothing wrong with getting our egos stroked and our heads blown up a little bit. So I thank you for that. It's a great lead into talking about you, because I certainly want to talk about you. And I have to. We got to start your military background, and you're gonna have to fill us in on what a cryptologist is, because that's all part of what you were doing. So why don't you take it away there, Kenneth?
Well, thank you again. I'm Kenneth Earl. I'm from Columbia, South Carolina, and I'll start from the very beginning, and just bear with me just a little.
For sure.
This story, the story that I wrote, is really about my life. It's a memoir. I call it a spy memoir, Illegitimate Son, and it's really about a young kid growing up in the segregated South. But it was about a mother that raised 4 children by herself, and I was a fourth of those kids. And to that extent, she was an extraordinary lady. Just did the very best that she could. Just wanted a better life for me and my brothers and my sibling, my sister as well, my other 2 brothers. So I was the last of those 4 children. And to be quite frank with you, Artie, I probably was the one that was probably the most challenged, right? And so to that degree, I was a basketball star in high school, and my basketball coach in high school, he was actually a veteran, an Army veteran. And when I didn't get any scholarships to go play at these top universities, which I thought I was good enough to do, that didn't happen. And I knew I couldn't pay for college, on my own. My mother struggled to do that for my sister. She made it through in 4 years, but I saw those struggles. And my other 2 brothers went into the service themselves. So my older brother went into the U.S. Air Force, my other one in the U.S. Army, and my sister went off to college. And when I didn't get that basketball scholarship, I ended up joining the Navy. And I can discredit that to my basketball coach and my best friend and another gentleman that joined the Navy at the same time. So when I joined the Navy, took my ASVAB test. I scored really high on this test called a DLAB, which is Defense Language Aptitude Test, which says that you could, learn new languages. It took me off to Monterey, California, to what they call the Defense Language Institute in Monterey, California, the Presidio of Monterey, to learn Korean. And, it didn't work out that well, but I ended up being reclassified as a cryptologic technician communications. So you asked me,
So before you got that, did you know what that was? I'm just curious.
I did not. And what happened was, honestly, I was going to be a communications radioman, like my 2 classmates. But I scored really high on my test, and my recruiter was like, "Hey, you know what? You seem to be very bright. We want to take this test." And I took this test, and it's a test of your language skills, and it's not a real known language, but it's just an aptitude test for languages. And I did really well, which I couldn't believe. And he said, "Look, we want to put you in language." And truth is, I was supposed to be a Russian linguist, but when I arrived in Monterey, they put me there. So I did not know what a cryptologist was. He had to explain it to me as well. So to that extent, I was going to be a cryptologic technician interpreter, where I would interpret language, encrypt and decrypt. But I ended up being reclassified as a cryptologic technician communications. And what is that? You asked me, what is a cryptologist? So what I did in my job, my job primarily in the Navy, you would think of it as cybersecurity now, but back then, the internet didn't exist quite yet.
Right.
And to that extent, I was learning how to take, codes and messages and to make them secret. So the shortness of it is this: you take messages and you make them unreadable. So when you encrypt something, you have to decrypt it to read it. But that process of studying cryptograms is cryptology.
Okay.
And, so what we did was, when it comes to signals intelligence, I talk about that, but signals intelligence are like receipt of, communication signals, and where you decrypt those signals, or languages, and you bring those down and you decrypt them. So it's just the study of cryptology, and cryptology is cryptograms and those methods that you use to encrypt or to make your messages secret.
Gotcha. So tell me then, well, I'm curious, what are key skills needed to do that kind of a job?
Yeah, I mean, and as far as just a high aptitude, high aptitude for languages, if you want to be a linguist. But in terms of a cryptologist, it could be anything in the sciences, the maths, those kinds of skills. You would, if you think of in today's environment, oftentimes when we think of cryptologists, you think of, cybersecurity.
Gotcha.
So any one of those kind of technical skills, because it's a highly technical workforce.
Okay.
Particularly in, today's society, we need people out there, to protect our nation, and, dealing with our, foreign adversaries and things of that nature.
Sure.
So we needed folks on the front lines, literally, to be able to make sure that we're protecting this nation.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'm seeing kind of your journey a bit. You didn't get the basketball scholarship.
Yeah.
You end up in the Navy.
Yeah.
You didn't learn Korean, but you did show that you can do this line of work that it's actually really, as you describe it, it's really important. It's really a key job, if you will, right? In terms of encrypting messages.
It is. And what it is, so I was in the Navy. So when I was classified as that communication, just remember, I did special intelligence communications. Okay. Yeah. So, when you think about your regular communications, your regular phone lines, and even the conversation we have now, but think about it, when our military and our intelligence communities that we may have for our nations, whether in Canada, the United States, or any of these nations, you need some way of protecting your communications. And that's what I did. On the encryption side, we would go and protect those signals, in terms of, what we want to send to our friends, right? And then when it comes out, we want to protect that from those foes. So we would do work to make sure that happened. On the other side of that, too, we have to protect ourselves and kind of knowing what that threat is about. So we have to understand the intelligence around those things. So my job was to ensure that those communications, whether there was, communications dealing with submarines, communications dealing with aircraft carriers, other Navy ships, or even land spaces, or even better yet, other security forces. So that was that job. And it was a very good job. I spent 21 years in the Navy. I loved it. I traveled the world. My basketball coach said, Craig, you know what? You join the military, you can get an education, earn a degree, learn a trade, travel the world, and play basketball. I'm like, whoa, you tell that to a 17-year-old, because I was 17 at that time, and I did them all. And one thing I just got to say, outside of the work part, traveled to Hong Kong, and I'll never forget, we played the Chinese national team.
Okay.
And we were so much bigger than them. We had one of the best teams in Japan. That's where it was from. I was on the ship. We got there, and I'm gonna tell you, they had the international rules. It was the first time we played international rules. I think at halftime, they was beating us something like 73 to 20. And what it was, because you can goaltend,
yes, knock it off the rim.
We wasn't used to that. You know what I mean? We kind of lay up the other way. Next thing you know, then a goaltended. So by the time we figured out those international rules, we got back into the game. But they had them blew us out. And also the ball, when it goes out of bounds.
Yep.
So we talking about the book, but we're talking basketball. So the rules with the referee, they don't have to hold the ball as long. So they was very quick with that.
Yes.
Whole half to figure it out. And once we did, our height didn't, we was much bigger than they were.
Right.
But so I would say that's what I loved. And that's what my coach said. He said, hey, you can do those things, travel the world. So though I did not, make that college scholarship, I was able to play internationally, played against other colleges and universities. Nice. So I played basketball the entire 20 years while at the same time protecting this nation's security. Isn't that
That's
something?
beautiful. That certainly is a blessing, and I mean, only few people can. As you're talking about, I'm getting excited because I can appreciate that, and only if there's only a select group of people that'll be like, yeah, that's great. Others will be like, yeah, so what, right? But I
Yeah.
get you. So I'm with you all the way. And by the way, FIBA rules is very different than NBA rules, right? So
Yes. Yes.
that first half, I get it. I get
Yes.
it. Our league, we play FIBA rules, so
Oh,
I mean, I'm
okay.
familiar with it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the only difference, now I'm getting technical here, the only difference, we play 12-minute quarters instead of 10. FIBA rule is 10-minute quarters. We play
Okay.
12, but for the most part, they're all the same, but the nuances are
The
different.
clock runs though, right? Doesn't the clock still
Yeah,
run?
well, yeah, it does. But the thing that's very different
Yeah.
is you can't when you call a timeout, you got to call it you can't do it to the ref. You got to do it to the table. The table calls the timeout,
Oh,
right?
wow.
So for a lot of people, they're used to, you're getting trapped. You go to the ref timeout. The ref ain't gonna give it to you because the
Yeah.
table's got to get it, right? So anyhow, I'm getting sidetracked
That's
here.
okay, but I love it.
I want to ask about the naval experience. I would
Oh,
imagine, and I'm sure, and we can get in your book too, because I'm
yeah.
sure you capture in your book. But
Yeah.
I'm guessing there's some really strong and powerful life lessons that you walked away
Oh
from
my,
that
yes,
experience.
yes, indeed, yes, indeed, and a lot of them. So, in the book, I outline from my entire naval career, from the time that I left Cherry Street. Cherry Street is an impoverished neighborhood in Columbia, South Carolina. Left there, and from that chapter goes all the way up until I retired from the Navy, and then start working in the intelligence community after retirement. So it's a memoir, right? To honor my mother and my brother, right? So to that extent, and everyone that came and helped me along the way. But there's a lot of great stories and lessons learned. So the subtitle of the book, well, the title of the book is called "Illegitimate Son: How a Naval Cryptologist Cracked the Life Codes," right? And I cracked 10 life codes, and let me share a couple with you. I know
Sure.
you would really appreciate it. I was excited to share this with you.
Yeah, yeah.
And I have it here. Let me put my glasses on. Uh, yeah. So one of the first ones, and I think I heard you talk about this. Mistakes and failures should be options for growth.
Oh
And I think I
man,
heard you talking about
man, you're speaking my language.
destination. But let me tell you, I made a lot of mistakes in my life, but I can tell you, Aldi, that for me, those were the best teachers. Now, of course, you don't want to repeat those things, but that was a code that I think that everyone should know, because in the military, and given the seriousness of my job, I
Sure.
was often told that failure is not an option, and you get kind of tense around those things. So to that extent, I learned. So the life code that I cracked was that those mistakes and failures should be options for growth. You any thoughts about
Yeah,
that?
100%. You are speaking my language. The only time, if you walk away after making a mistake, I think there's lessons in everything. And if
Yeah.
you make a mistake or go through an experience and you walk away and don't pick up a lesson, that's the real mistake.
Yes.
That's the real mistake, right?
Yeah.
Like, you'll go through things will happen to you, but you have to understand that, you almost have to pause yourself and go, okay, why is this happening? And what purpose does it serve?
Yeah.
And if you can figure that out, then you walked away with the lesson. And if you haven't, that's where the mistake lies. So you're speaking my language.
Exactly. And and it was, I listened to that last night, and I remember you saying something along those lines. Also, I wrote here, some of them are a little funny and some of them pretty direct. Unhappiness and frustrations are unproductive. And what I learned, remember now, this starts, from age, 5, but 17 to, I think I was 38 or 39 when I retired. So 21 years. So yeah, 38, 39. And so what I learned was unhappiness and frustrations are unproductive. Audie, I spent too much time being unhappy. And I feel that wasn't productive. And I said, damn, it's a lot of time wasted being frustrated and unhappy. And I also came to the extent that, I thought that maybe happiness is a skill, because I thought happiness was something that happened to you or something that someone gives you. But what I discovered is it's a skill like anything else. You learn how to ride a bike. Well, hell, you can learn
Right.
how to be happy, right? And that's what I've taught myself. So I don't know if it's
Right.
a skill or not, but I sure enough treat it like a skill, because I don't look for those external things. And I try not to spend too much time in unhappiness and frustration, because I found it to be unproductive, and I've wasted a lot of time in my life, in those moments.
You got me, and I'm with you. Like honestly, 100%. I find that I find when I'm happy, right,
Yeah.
or I'm in a good mood, I've got the most creativity. I've got the most energy. We use the word productivity. I'm the most productive. Like it's almost like happiness is a sweet spot.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and that's not to say there are things that won't happen over the course of your day that will cause you to be unhappy.
That's
But
right.
the way I think about it is this: let's say you're driving to work one morning, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
someone does something, it cuts you off, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's in that moment. And that was 9 a.m. that morning. At 5 p.m., I'm still upset or frustrated or angry about what happened. There's something wrong because I just wasted a whole day.
Yeah, that's unproductive. And yeah, exactly. What I'm saying is, but it took me a long time to figure out. I would even tell people sometimes, somebody would, maybe you're driving to work and, I'm spending all day telling everybody about how that person cut me off. And, it's like, look how much time I'm spending talking
Right.
about something that made me mad,
Right.
5 before ago. So I try not to, I'll kid you not, I do find myself sometimes being unhappy and frustrated, but I stay in those moments. I don't stay in them very long.
Yes. Yes.
Not I wouldn't be all day. I wouldn't like if my team, when I was a kid, my team would lose. I'll be sick for a whole week.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
now what I do is I realize everybody got the little inner child in them. Like I can't even watch football no more. If I got some equities in the game, I tend not to watch it because I realize it messes with my emotions. So I don't even watch it anymore because it's gonna make me unproductive, particularly if we don't win. And I found that out. So I just think that being unhappy and frustrated is just not a productive thing to be in all the time.
Kenneth Earl, right? In fact, a motto or saying I oftentimes use is, "I don't have bad days, I have bad moments."
Yes, I like that. Matter of fact, I like that. And
I don't have bad days, I have bad moments, and I move on. You got to.
I think, and that's true because you just nailed it there. And if I could just share two more, I
Sure,
think
let's do it.
really like it.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I can settle for just two. You're on a roll, man.
Well, there's okay. So I'll share three more, right? Okay.
Sure.
So one is actually a tagline for the book. And you got to excuse me. I am getting a little older, so I have to use my readers. Okay. And
no worries.
Believe it, I got contacts on now. I'm putting on my glasses. Okay. So it says you cannot buy peace of mind. And, so my sister and I was having a conversation about peace of mind. And, it's just, and I realized all of us are seeking that. And, and we had this conversation about you can go and buy a mattress, you can go and buy a nice pillow, sleep number, whatever, but that's not going to promise you a good night's sleep. You can go buy that thing, and also when it comes to peace of mind, you can't buy that. And we also was reflecting on peace of mind and said, hey, you know what? Maybe we should open up a store and put a sign out there and call it peace of mind. And I said, I bet you people start running around and lining up in the store. We won't put nothing in the store, but I bet you we'll get a big line because we know everyone wants that. So what I've discovered is that if you're going to have that, you can't go buy that. I mean, of course, you can go and talk to friends and mentors and maybe talk with your therapist and maybe get support around that. But at the end of the day, it's up to us, to try to get that peace and to go get that. And it's not something you can buy. And I think it's just something that I learned because it's almost like, there's a quote here. And I got to read this. This is so spot on when it comes to mine. And I just would love to hear your comment on this. I should have had it bookmarked, but I'm just going to, here it is. Okay. When it comes to peace of mind, right? I wrote here, if you want peace of mind, stop fighting with your thoughts. Now, I don't know if you can go and buy that, but I think that's what it is. And that's anonymous, but it says, if you want peace of mind, stop fighting with your thoughts.
Yeah.
And, so again, I guess the takeaway was, if if you want, you can't buy peace of mind. And I don't know if you got any thoughts on that.
No, you can't. You really can. Peace of mind is something that there's so much that comes with that: fulfillment, satisfaction, contentness, happiness. All of these things are part of it, and I can guarantee you can't buy any of those things.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
They say
so
anything worth having, you can't buy it anyway. Love, you can't buy love. You can't buy peace of mind. You can't buy happiness. It's just a state of being that we have to put ourselves in. And I'm convinced, at least for me, that happiness is a skill. And I think it's something that we all can practice. And we don't have to wait for it to show up at our door,
right.
or show up as a Christmas present or a gift from someone else. I think it's a gift we give ourselves. Right. And I'll give you two more, and I'm gonna leave the best one for last, right? But one of them here is no matter what you do in life,
yep,
no one can beat you at being you. Oh. I know you can relate to that.
Authenticity, my friend. Authenticity right there.
That's it. That's it. And I heard you talking about it, and I said, yo, he's going to love this because at the end of the day, I want to be the best version of myself. And Absolutely. This book is not a how-to book as much as it's a story of a mother raising 4 children by herself, and how one of them, learned from all those lessons that she taught us, and even the people that I learned along the way, the mentors, the advisors, the friends, the other family members that helped along the way. Yep. Because, the odds wasn't the odds were against me. I mean, against our whole family. And odds were against my mom, raising up in the Great Depression in the segregated South in America. It was just hard times, but she did it the very best that she could. And that leads me to the last one that I want to share. Yep. And it says, a mother's wisdom is indisputable. And I say that for last because I can tell you the person that I've become today is really a total, I guess, representation of the person that she was. And regardless of the parenting, good, bad, or indifferent, what a mother does, it is going to impact us in some kind of way, shape, or form. At least I can say for me. And today is her birthday, actually, too. Amazing. So I just want to say happy birthday, a heavenly happy birthday to her. Amazing. And, today is February 25th, and she was born in 1937. And I remember when we scheduled this, I was thinking, hey, this is Mom's birthday. So what a great way to celebrate that with you and your audience today.
That's outstanding. Listen, Kenneth, that's touching. Your mother's love is uncomparable. And a wonderful way to keep the legacy living, right? And so if we can, through our own lives, right, show. So for example, in this case, your mother, through our own lives, right? We're keeping her memory strong. Her legacy lasts even longer through your own actions, through your behaviors, the things that you say. So I can relate to that so much. I'm fortunate. I still have my mother here with me, and there's been many times where we'll speak, and I'm like, wow, that's wise. I'll write that down, or I'll say that again. Let me get that again, right?
Yes.
But yeah, it's powerful stuff, and I love the way that you honored her, as well as your brother. So let's talk about this, because you honored your brother and through the book, but also through your name. Explain that. Share that.
Thank you for asking that question. So Kenneth Earl is actually my brother, right? And he passed away at too young of an age, right? I mean, barely 40 years old, and this is the one that went in the Army, and he was. Oh my God, he was the athlete. He was the 5-star athlete. He lettered in 5 sports. I know you can relate to that.
Man,
5 sports. Good. I mean, I think it's good. Baseball, football, wrestling, track.
Wow.
And baseball. 5 sports. And he went in the Army, and he was like the top, he was doing infantry stuff, but he was like the top soldier in everything that he did. And oh my God, so I wanted to honor him because he just passed away too early. He was just so strong. And so my name is Craig Taylor, but he was Kenneth Earl Taylor. And, obviously, again, it is a pseudonym, and how fitting it was. And I did ask my older brother and sister how they felt about that, because the book was designed to honor my mom. Sure. And what better way to honor both of them, right? And they were like, absolutely. And I obtained their permission to do that. And also my brother, he had a son And I know you have a 15-year-old, right? I don't know if it's 16 now, but you have
15. No, he's 15. He's 15.
15. See, okay. So he had a son, and I had occasion to speak to him about it before the book was published. And though they didn't have a long relationship together, he was very young when my brother passed away, obviously. But I needed to, have some, I guess, have his support too for what it was that I was doing to honor his dad.
It's amazing. It's amazing and touching and a beautiful way to again keep someone's legacy going strong. So I mean, I commend you on that. I commend you on. So first, I thank you for sharing, your lessons the way you did.
Yeah.
The 5 that you gave me has got me salivating. I'm sure there's some good stuff in there, but I think more importantly, and I think it goes back to a point we made earlier about going through a situation and the mistake is not taking the lessons. Well, you made no mistake, right? You went through a whole series of life lessons from the Navy, and you've taken that and encapsulated that and turned that into a gift that you've given other people. And
give to others.
You know what? I commend you for that. It's something that's it's an approach to life that's very near and dear to my heart in terms of what I believe and what I value. And so I really want to commend you on that, Kenneth, because man, it's to be able to take your own personal lessons and be able to impact other people, but just simply by sharing. There's great power in sharing, and so for you to be able to do that, that's phenomenal. I take my hats off to you and say congratulations. Let our listeners know if they want to know where they can catch the book, read the book.
Good. Yes.
Where can we send them? Where can we send them?
Good. Amazon.com. If you don't, Amazon.com. If not a user of Amazon, you can go to illegitimate son, sun.com. Again, that's illegitimate-son.com.
Explain the title. Tell me how you came up with that title. That's interesting.
Thank you for asking. Okay, so illegitimate son, S-U-N, okay? Yep. Now, remember, my mother raised 4 children by herself, so she wasn't with, my father, so she never got married. And in those days, the early, 50s and 60s, when you have children, when you're born out of wedlock, they would call them illegitimate.
Yes.
And, we don't do that nowadays. That wouldn't be politically correct. And our society has really changed, right? They really have changed. And to that extent, though, I took the word sun, S-U-N, because the sun rises, right? So what I did is it was just a literary, I was trying to be literarily clever and saying that maybe someone could pick up on that. Like, what do they mean? Illegitimate son? And someone did. I mean, it worked. I can tell you, maybe not with everyone, but it worked.
Sure.
And I can say to you that, it wasn't just designed for kids growing up in a single parent home. It was designed, or it is designed for anyone who might feel, one sense of, for whatever reason that, hey, maybe they're not good enough, or maybe they suffer from imposter syndrome, or maybe, there's some other thing that they may not necessarily, not say ashamed of, but maybe not be comfortable with. There's a lot of things that might make us feel illegitimate, Imposter syndrome is pretty rampant in terms of people. Maybe there might be CEOs might feel like, how the hell I got here, right?
True.
Or to that extent. So to that degree, again, it's not a how-to book, but it does share a story of someone coming from those extraordinarily humble beginnings with a mother that was determined to have better for her children. And that was a part to honor her because she only had a general education diploma. She dropped out of school early to have my older brother who helped my mother along the way with myself and my other siblings. So she had to end her education. She was highly intelligent, but, she never achieved the formal education, but she worked her way up, got the respect of veterans, doctors, nurses, and, other folks that she supported in the Veterans Hospital for 40 years. And I can tell you, I just watched, and I was always used to wonder, like, how did, these doctors and nurses and these other highly educated people sought her out for advice? Because she just had this wisdom. And there's nothing like a mother's wisdom. And I can tell you, for me, it was extraordinarily helpful. And that's why I said, a mother's wisdom is indisputable, because I think I'm a living and walking example of what that might mean for a person. And
right.
That could be for a father as well. But
sure. I get you.
I didn't have that luxury, but I can tell you, I don't know if I missed out on, Oh, you still there?
I am.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me see something here.
No,
Oh, okay, good. So, sorry about that. I thought we had lost the connection. And so she did really, really wonderful. And when I speak to my siblings now, we always celebrate her. We had some text exchanges today, and we just talk
amazing.
about how extraordinary she was. And I can say one other thing about that. I think what really helped me through some of those toughest, darkest valleys, not just praying and people helping, but just seeing the strength that she had and the things that she had to go through to raise us. When I did find myself at those, low points of frustration, unproductive, unhappiness, I would just kind of think about, damn, she went through,
Right.
much greater,
Yep.
so great art. So those things will be inspiring. So it was inspiring to kind of see how she did that for herself. So that was very helpful. And I wanted, and, just to say this to you, I heard you talking about legacy in one of your previous podcasts, and that's what this book was, is to keep that legacy going. And I said, I wrote this book to give back what was given to me. And that's the legacy of my mother's character. So that's what this book is about, is maintaining her legacy through the story that I told.
Amazing. Amazing. And that's exactly, Kenneth, how you keep it alive. That's how you keep it strong. That's how you keep them strong, right?
Yeah.
So in that way, they're always with you. Even after they're always with you, they're always in your heart. And so, again, that's amazing. I love it. Kevin, look, I've had a great time. I really have.
I have too.
I've enjoyed this conversation immensely. Congratulations on the book. I'm sure. I don't think being an author was high on your goals list, but you did it anyways, and I think it's a very powerful way, because you not only wrote your memoirs, but you also showed and honored not only your mother but your brother as well. So congrats again, Kenneth.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And it's just my honor to be here today and spend this time with you. I'm just very grateful. And I don't want to get emotional here, but I just want to thank you for being and doing what you're doing. And I know you're doing this out of the goodness of your heart. I've seen enough of your podcast to know that. And, I just want to encourage you to continue to do things like this, because it's motivating on this end.
Thank you.
So thank you again.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much. Kenneth, I appreciate you being here. Thank you, my friend, and be well.
Okay, sure will.
Back we are here on the podcast, and I gotta say that super appreciative and thankful for Kenneth for being here and really sharing with such openness and honesty about his life and his background, and also explaining us some of his stories from his book. I can relate to a story in so many ways, particularly around that profound impact that his mother has had on his life as a single parent. Again, my upbringing is very similar, so I really appreciate that, Kevin. Much goes up for sharing your lessons, talking about cracking the code of life. I think listeners will appreciate that. And again, I would say check out his book. It's entitled Illegitimate Son. Pick up a copy and have a read. It's a really good read. When I reflect on my conversation with Kenneth, he really left us with some great things. And if there's just one item that I pull from my conversation with him, it would be this. From the moment we enter the world, we're subject to being programmed with beliefs and ideals from friends, families, and society, until we get to that point where we're able to develop our own understandings. As we grow and progress through life and gather more experiences, we start to form our own realizations of who we are as individuals, what things matter to us, and how we fit into the world around us. To some it might feel like we've hit a eureka moment and we've cracked the code of life, and that's fine. Because through this process of discovery, we may end up ditching old damaging habits and replacing with new ones. Maybe we gain a better purpose of self, uncover hidden passions, or uncover and discover our amazing potential. Whatever path we go down, please know that these are all our key and important steps in living that bold and audacious life that we're after. Hey, listen, if you haven't registered for email notifications of the podcast, please know that you can do so simply by heading over to bestaudaciouslife.com, and all you've got to do is enter in your email address, and every time brand new content comes out, you will be alerted. I gotta send a big shout out and thanks to our awesome listeners. You know, you guys make this incredible pleasure and honor to share with and talk to, and the feedback has been fantastic. I'd encourage you to keep doing so. It's so much appreciated. Our lovers of Audacious, as I say, thank you. Until next time, stay safe, be kind, show love to one another, and be audacious.
You've been listening to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by Audley Stevenson. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, be audacious.